Hi and welcome back to my workshop. I'm Tony, and if you follow me you'll know that I'm back building my 1:6 scale Armortek Series 1 Land Rover, and I'm loving every minute of it. I really missed not being able to build this while I had broken my arm. So anyway, I'm back now and I hope you're rejoining me. Today is all about getting the wheels done, and I've been really looking forward to doing these because these are beautiful. They're just so well made, and I think once they're on the Land Rover it's going to really set it off you'd expect. And then when I've done the wheels I will tidy up the cabling, or while I'm waiting for the paint to dry and all that, we'll do some work on the cabling underneath the Land Rover. But I wanted to share with you, I wanted to share a mod with you, sorry. An idea I've come up with for these wheels. So as well as what's involved in the process of doing these wheels is I've got to get the tyres off. I need to be conscious of the thread direction because that's quite important when the tyres go back on. They need to be cleaned, they need to be primed, they need to be painted and then put on the Series 1. However, I want to also, as I said, I want to do a little mod on these just to enhance the detail a little bit, and I will share that with you in just a moment. So that's it. That's the plan for today. Get the wheels on, tidy some cabling up, and if I get all that done in the build session and really start seeing this as it should look, we're really on the sort of the home run, if you like. Anyway, I'll reset the camera and we'll get cracking. Right, so let me talk you through my idea. So this is this beautifully made wheel, and just the imprint on the rubber tire is just gorgeous. Lovely thing to handle and to look at, and I think when it's on the Land Rover it's going to look amazing. However, each one of these tyres would have an inner tube in the old days, and each one of those inner tubes would have a valve to inflate the tyre, or the tyre in the inner tube. And I just think that the detail and the feel of these warrant just giving it a little bit of a mod to provide a little air valve, like the inflation valve. So this is what I've come up with. I've got a centre punch. I'm going to just see if I can do this. I'm going to go on, I'll give it over this side so you can see. I'm going to go on the middle part of the outer part of the hub here. Just on the middle part here is roughly where it would be. Again, this is not accurate. It just gives me a hole or a dent to attack it. I've got a 1.5mm drill inside my little DeWalt here, and I'm just going to drill down now. The great thing about this, there's the hole. I don't know if you can see the hole there. It doesn't go all the way through because it's got the other side of the hub here. So now I've got somewhere to position my piece of brass rod, this is a 1.5mm diameter threaded piece of brass wire. All this stuff is all available on the internet. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a piece of that. I'm going to use the housing of my centre punch to capture this. I'm going to cut a piece of this, probably around about just under 1 inch or 20mm long. Let's caught that beautifully. Then I'm going to use my pliers, and I'm just going to clean up the edge because that's got obviously a cut edge on it. So I'm just going to clean up the edge on my bench grinder. So bear with me a second. That gives me a beautiful finished edge. I don't know if you can see that. Then I've got these little tiny brass circuit board. They're like raising parts for raising up circuit boards in some electronics. Now, I'm not into electronics. I just found these and I thought this would be perfect. So now, hopefully, I can. And it's the same internal diameter of 1.5mm. Let's come on this way. See if we can get that on. He says this should thread on. Oh, holding your breath there. There we go, it's on. And that's kind of, I don't know if you can see that, that's kind of the look I'm looking for. Then that will go in there. I'm just going to wind that up up a little bit more. This is probably too far out. I'm now going to just trim this. And then, with the hole already drilled, I'm going to pop that in there. And that is it. That's what I'm looking for. This little inflating valve. So I will put these in after I've painted the wheels. So these will be glued in, and then I might just paint out the ends for sort of like a dust cap, a little black dust cap on that. But hopefully you can see, you get the gist of that. I think that looks pretty smart. And I just think it just needs that just up, you know, that slight elevation of detail. So what I'm going to do now is I will get these prepared for painting, and I'll come straight back to camera. Just ahead of painting, what we should do is I should explain how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to just push the hub, the wheel hub, through the tyre, and you can see there's a solid mass of rubber here which needs to be bonded to the hub itself, the wheel hub. However, I don't like to paint this part because I think it doesn't give you a good bond with the adhesive. So what we should do is just give this a bit of a clean up. You can see on the cloth why it needs to be cleaned. Then I'm going to mask off where I don't want paint to get on. I'm not going to the right at the edge of this. Just covering enough of it so I can get a good surface area of paint, like so. And I'm also going to do, actually I'll come on to do a slightly narrow gauge masking tape. I've got all different sizes of masking tape. Just get that on there, if it behaves itself, and it's just starting to. Sorry. I'm really looking forward to seeing these wheels painted and how they're going to look on the Land Rover. So that is it. That's ready for painting. I will give this a bit of the surface area another wash, and this will be primed with, I'm going to use red oxide primer, probably 2 coats of the red oxide. Then I'll probably do a grey primer, building up the primer coats, and then we'll go in and do probably 2, possibly 3 or 4 layers of paint on the finish, depending on how I feel at the time. But I really want these to be, you know, robust. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to paint the nuts that hold them into the main Series 1 frame. So that'll all be done. So I will not film that because it is like watching paint dry, and you don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get all these ready, get them on my bench, get them painted or primed, and then while I'm waiting for the primer to dry, we'll go back and have a look at the lighting cabling on the Series 1 to see if we can get that tidied up. So while I'm waiting for the paint to dry on the wheels, I've gone ahead, flipped over the Series 1, as you can see, which we will need to do again to put the exhaust pipe on and install the wheels. But I wanted to just talk you through. I didn't film it because it was a bit fiddly, and I would have probably ended up losing the plot in the process of cabling. But basically what I've done is I've rewired all the lights back into the main junction box here, so all the neutrals and all the lives are all wired back into this central box. I've then just connected up my test battery. Just want to make sure everything is working, and I'm going to just have a look at that before I show you on camera, and everything is working. So what I'll do now is I'll reposition, or I'll take the camera off its hilt and show you that. So we have the headlights working, little bulkhead lights are working. I know it's quite bright here, but you can see the reflection of the lights. And if I take this around to the back of the Series 1, you can see that the rear lights even, sorry, got my teeth in. So that is it. I'm happy with that. I've connected up the lead back to the receiver, and that goes inside the bonnet area here, sorry. inside the bonnet area here, and it goes into channel 6. So now I'll rewire. Now I know that this all works and I'm very happy with it, so this is all working here. I'll just reconnect this up, so when it's all finally connected, I'm confident that it's going to work. So I'm just going to disconnect my test battery and rewire to the receiver. There's no power to the receiver at the moment, so not doing any harm with this. Just need to unwind that a little bit more. I'm still racking my brains on exactly how I'm going to lay out all the option packs and electronics in this, because it's really tight for space. I thought the headset was tight, but this is ridiculously tight, but that's for another time. Hopefully my wheels are dry so I can have a look at those while I've got this upside down. That's that, and that just threads back down inside into the receiver, which is down here, probably out of shot, but there it is there, into the receiver. So that all goes down there. I've used some cable ties just to keep these cables away from the drivetrain. I've glued some of the cables down into these little slots here and here. There's a perfect little sort of route through for cabling, and I'm going to see how it goes, and if it needs a little bit more tidying I'll do that, but for now I'm quite happy with that. So let's go and see if the wheels are dry. Right, so the wheels are now dry. I can now take off the masking tape, if I can just find where I started it. And if you remember, I used the masking tape just so that I can get expose some of the metal, so I get a good adhesion to it. I'm just going to carefully take that off, cast that to one side. It's stuck to my finger, of course it is. Oh, it's mad. As soon as the camera goes on, things just play up. So I've gone ahead and done the spare wheel already, just to sort of see how that went, and it went really easily. So I like to make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I start talking to camera. So that's it. That's this one. Now let's take a note of the thread. So this thread here, you'll see is I'm got it so it's pointing in the downward direction. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. So that needs to be, they tell us that that's going to be the front left wheel. So just lay that down on the deck and then simply push that inside to fit it, but we need to glue it in place because we don't want these tires coming off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the inside and use quite a liberal smearing of the B7000. This is a really good flexible glue. Can glue metal and rubber together, so this is the ideal partner for this job. I'm just going to put a little bit on the inside of this as well, and I'm hoping that the action of pushing the glue, or pushing the wheel hub, or the wheel rim should we say, through to the tyre will actually spread that out perfectly. So just trying to put the lid back onto the glue. That's that. Now just making sure that the direction is pointing down, and it is. Lay that down on my bench and get the wheel rim, and just slide that through, push it down into place, and that's that. Now let's go and put our little, let's just have a look at the back. That's absolutely fine. A little bit of excess glue, but that you'd expect to see that, but that's on the inside, so we're not worried about that. Right, now let's get our previously made little brass valve, and this is just simply going to be glued into place. So I'm just going to squirt a bit of glue into that hole, the hole that we previously drilled, which is a 1.5mm diameter hole. And I'm just going to drop that inside like so, and that will glue and set, and that's it. I actually really like that. I think it's an important thing to do. Now what I will do is I will paint out this, when it's all set and glued, I'll paint this out, or I might use a black marker just to take the head of that off, so that it, but I actually think that looks pretty good. I'd like to know what you think in the comments. Very simple mod, but I think it just transforms it and makes it into something a little bit better than what it was. So that's the first of the last 4 the running wheels. So what we'll do is I'll get all these done, and then we'll put them onto the Series 1. So that's the first one. I'm just making sure I've got that. Now I'm going to do the left hand, right hand side, if you like, the rear, left hand rear. So we do exactly the same thing. I'll just do this one and then I'll do the others off camera. I know I keep talking about this glue, but this glue is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because it's got a little bit of flexibility in it that you're going to need. Because obviously as the tyres compress, as they roll along under a bit of weight, you don't want that sort of, I don't think a Loctite or super glue of its nature would work. Even the black super glue, which I have used previously on the, what did I use that on? The M26, I think, yeah. That is so tricky to get back on. Anyway, that's on. Now we just take the, well, that's just getting tacky. That's the great thing about this glue as well. It takes a while before it cures, because it's a bit like contact adhesive. If you leave it a while, it glues better. I don't want to leave it too long, and I'll just get that to stop sticking to my fingers. To take that off. Now these wheels have had 4 top coats, just because I had enough paint. It made sense to do that. So I'm just double checking the direction of that travel. That's fine. Same again, just position that and then slide that, push that down into place. That's fine. Again, it's just a tiny little bit of glue on the back of that. No harm done. Just pushing that through. And then we're just going to glue our little valve in. I've done exactly the same to the spare wheel, as it would have a valve in it as well, of course. Just going to pop that down into position, and when that goes off, that thread will be locked in place. So there's those two. That's the previous one I did as the spare wheel. Now we'll go on and do the other 2. Okay, so I've elevated the Series 1 on a block of wood here, just so that I can get full clearance for the wheels. And the first wheel we're going to put in is the front left, and I'm just going to just turn that slightly and see if I can just line up the holes. It's loosely lined up, I guess. I should be armed with a fixing. So let's do that. This is an exciting moment. I know I'll put them on. What's that going on there? I put them on previously to test them, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Now, how difficult is this going to be? Just going to just gently get the right tool, gently wind that on. Ooh, tender moments. Let's put another one on opposite. Feel it wanting to go in, and I think it's there. So I'll just get 2 on for now. That's 2 on. Now I have painted the fixings as well, just so that I could take your eye off the, and just see that just needs to spin round ever so slightly. That's why I haven't tightened them up. That's perfect. And again, you can always touch these up. Now I know that some of the guys out there did a mod on these where they put a grub screw or a threaded grub into the hub itself, and then used just some nuts to put on. But I think these are fine. I think these are adequate. That's what I love about this hobby, that everybody has a way of approaching it. You know, so whatever I do, I mean, if inspired some of the builders out there to do some of the mods that I've done on this, that's brilliant. That's amazing, and I really hope that this has helped. But at the same time, I absolutely admire everybody else that's trying to build one of these and make it their own. And as I said many times, this is the great thing about the Armortek kits. You can make them your own. I love building the Baja. It's an amazing thing. But the only time you can customize that is the body shell. You can color that, and I tend to do that. But what I love about the Armortek kits is that they give you the kit, all the parts, everything you get with the kit is exactly the same as everybody else's, but then you make it your own by choosing the color scheme, the various mods that you can add. Now I'm quite happy to go around and just tighten all these up. Oh, it's looking good, I think. Just tightening that up. Now, if you're very careful with these, you can get away with painting the fixings, as long as you leave them long enough. Now, these have been left probably about 2 hours to allow the paint to really cure and harden. And I'm just going to go around and just make sure these are all tightened up. Don't want a wheel coming off. I haven't used thread locker on these because I don't think I should. I want to be able to get these off. So that is it. The first one on. And just I can actually feel the suspension working on that as well. So that's the first one on. So we now move over to this one. I'm just going to move it ever so slightly in my favour, so this is the right way. The thread is operating, positioned in the right direction. That will hold in slightly better. Oh, doesn't it look good? Woohoo! I'm sorry, I'm actually getting excited because it's actually looking like a Series 1. I was out for a little drive today. I had to go around to my daughter's place to help her fit some curtains up in a new place. And on the way back, there was a Series 1. It pulled in a little country lane, and it was just beautiful to see. Had a lovely patina on it, you know, distressed or whatever you want to call it, but absolutely beautiful. And it just sort of made me smile thinking about my little one here, and a little bit jealous of somebody driving around a full-size one. But never mind. So I'll just get the other two of these nuts on. I'll go around and I'll do the other side, probably do that off camera. Well, it's up to you. I can do it, and then you guys can decide whether you want to fast forward to skip me gibbering on as I tend to do. But look at this. It's tempting to say that I'm really close to finishing, and I was gonna say that, but I'm thinking about all the other things I've got to do on this, and I'm not. Still a bit to do on it. Still a way to go. I mean, namely, I have to get the exhaust installed. That shouldn't be a problem. I've obviously got to do the canopy, all the electronics, of course. Take it for a little test drive. See if I can get the sound card working. I might have to call in the help of my mate Adrian if he's available. And then I'm going to do some, a bit more personal touches on it. I've got quite a few ideas I want to do to it. And then, of course, we've got all the added on bits that you do get with the kit. So it's the wing mirrors and the window wipers and all the rest of it, which will add even more detail. So there's a lot more detail to go onto this. And I've got some really cool RAF decals, not to mention my driver and potentially my radio operator. Oh yeah, and that also reminds me, I've actually got a radio to go in the back as well. So there's quite a bit of work to do, and of course I've got to put the grill on, the front grill, the badges, which I got from Charles off the forum. Amazing. What else? Well, you get the idea, you get the gist. So that's it. Look with the wheels on. Look at it. I think they look great. That's what I think. It's just my thoughts. And in time they'll weather, as they should do, but I'm not going to bother about weathering them. But as this drives across ground and everything else, it'll start getting all grubby, as it should do. So I might as well just go and do the other side now. So I'll do that off a camera and I'll be straight back. That's it for today, and look at it. I just can't get over how good it looks. The wheels on really do finish it off. I knew it was gonna, but it's until you see them on and see them painted, and I'm really pleased with the little mod I did on the valves. I think that'll just set it off. And the only thing is, with the spare wheel, I haven't really worked out the best thing to do with that. There is like a receptacle or a recess in the back of the tailgate compartment, the flatbed, for that to go like that, but there's no way of securing it, or nothing that's obvious to me. I need to check the instructions again and again, but I may have missed that. But there's no obvious means of doing that. And I've also, I know the one I saw earlier, the series one I saw earlier, had his spare wheel on the bonnet, which is, I think it just belongs there, right? But if you put that on the bonnet, the windscreen doesn't retract as it should. Is that a problem? Don't know. Haven't decided. Jury's out. But again, that's what I said before. That's the great thing about these incredible models. You can decide how you want it. So really, in summary, today was really just getting the wheels finished off, a little mod on the wheels, tidying up the lighting cabling, and now we're ready for the next step. And I think the next step is the seating, which is something I forgot to mention in my list of work still to be done. So I think in my next session I'm going to start doing the seats, and I'm going to start looking at access to the battery compartment, and do a bit more work on sort of the wiring and everything else, just tidying all that up. So I think that's the plan for the next session. Now I'm going to try and release a video every week on the Series 1, but it could be that one week to Series 1, the next week is the Baja, but it depends on my time and Ben's time and his availability for editing. So we'll see how we get on. But anyway, enough of that for me today. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you, a huge thank you for your continued support. My channel is building in success because of your support, and without that support I don't know what would happen. So please continue that support, please continue giving me those amazing comments, those wonderful thumbs up, and of course subscribing. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, because there's a huge amount of work still to be done to this. And of course I continue the build on my incredible Baja, which I'm enjoying tremendously. And now I will sign off finally by saying I am Tony. Thank you for joining me today. I can't wait to the next build session, and I'll see you then.